Hello. We're just gonna carry on. Prompt number 26 was magical, and I redrew the same or similar character for these two, so it's kind of interesting to compare them a little bit. This one from 2018, I really feel like the anatomy leaves a lot to be desired. I do like some of the ideas that come through this, so I think for the both of these, the kind of inspiration was kind of magical girl-esque, very anime inspired, I think, for the prompt magical, and I do like some of the ideas. I absolutely love doing this magic effect. I use these glitter pens. I don't know whether you're going to be able to see, but they are super glittery. And I did that for both of them. I went with kind of pink and blue for this one, and then just a lot of pink for this one. Hope you can see the glitter in there. This one I don't like at all. I really don't like the proportions and the anatomy, and also the composition of this one I just feel like is really weird. The pose is strange. I'm not really sure kind of what's going on with this one. I also feel like this one is a little bit boring. There's really not so much dimension going on, but I do feel like it's more cohesive than the earlier one. I really love the little hearts in the hair. I do feel like it works a little bit better in this one because of the line art, as opposed to here where you can't really tell because the line art is very pale, and so it kind of blends in with the actual colour of the hair, but I think it still kind of works. Prompt number 27 was honey, and I actually really like both of these. The 2018 one is one of the better drawings out of the entire sketchbook, to be honest. I think this is one of my favourite ones. It was kind of a cohesive idea. I think that this basket is really cute with the little jars, all the little bees. I tried to add a little bit of interest into the background, which I appreciate, but also I just really like the character, and I feel like her face looks really cute here. I think some of the anatomy stuff could have been improved a little bit. I also feel like the outfit's kind of like basic. I just think that it's a big block of one colour. That's not particularly interesting, but I do like the composition of this, and I feel like if I just framed it like that could have been cute. But I also really like my updated version. I went with something kind of very different. I didn't want to try and recreate the exact same idea. So I went with a little bee character, and I think this might be one of my favourites from the whole sketchbook. It is kind of a different style to what I normally do. I don't do kind of chibi proportions particularly often. I did a lot of research on how to colour this kind of honey effect. I really like it. I just feel like it looks really cute. I have coloured honey a couple of times before. I did one digitally, and I feel like doing it traditionally was a little bit different because digitally there's a lot more different kind of effects on the layers, different like lighting effects and stuff. So it was different doing it traditionally, but I had a lot of fun with it. I really enjoyed this. I really tried to give it some interest in the background and thought about the composition of the whole thing. I did all these little bees. I do think it's really cute. I feel like I put a lot of effort into it, and I really enjoyed myself when drawing it, and I feel like that's why it's one of my favourites. Even if there's a lot of stuff about it that could be improved. I think some of the line art and stuff could have been a lot neater. Maybe if I'd done parts of it in different coloured line art rather than just doing it all in this thin black line. I think that could have added a lot of depth and interest, and I think the face could have been changed a little bit. I don't know. I hate doing these little tiny noses. I'm just not keen on the way they look, so I do like the colour of the eyes though, in the way that I really brought in that honey colour scheme to the whole thing. And her dress is kind of bee inspired, so I do think it's really cute, but also there's a lot that could be improved or done differently with it too. Prompt number 28 was instrument, and you can kind of see a turning point at this point that I started to approach these prompts in a completely different way, and I think that that's really interesting. Thinking about how I wanted to improve these illustrations as best I could, so I think that this drawing is fine. There's nothing particularly exciting about it. I do feel like the composition is a little weird. I think I drew over here because I knew I wanted her arms up, but then I didn't really plan it, so there is just a lot of white space here, but if you kind of crop it down to the actual drawing itself, it's fine. I mean, yeah, there's some anatomy problems. I think the hands could have been drawn better. This violin is drawn horribly. The angle's all wrong, but I feel like it does the job, and it's kind of an endearing attempt. We'll go with that. I also feel like there's a lot that could have been done differently with this. Again, it's so small. I think I stopped being quite as ambitious. I realised I couldn't do an entire page every day and still keep up with the challenge and all of the other stuff that I had going on at the time. So I started to scale them down just a little bit. So this does feel a little bit small on the page. But the difference here is that I was really getting into doing something in the background of every image instead of it just being a white void like a lot of the early drawings were. So at the very least I was doing like a circle or a square in the background just to add something. I feel like with this one it looks a little strange because the character's so big and the circle's so small. I feel like I could have extended it or done more in the background or done more circles here, just like added something extra. But I don't hate it. I actually really love this colour scheme and I'd love to attempt it again. This kind of dark blue and this really like, I don't know, plummy pinky purple colour. I really like the colour combination. Yeah, overall it's pretty simple. It's pretty basic. I do love this character though. I don't know what it is about it, but I like the vibe of this character, the colour scheme, her outfit. It's very cool. I want to redraw her. Prompt number 29 was feathers and I hate this drawing. I really hate it. I don't like it at all. I feel like the colours don't work well. Oh, it's just so boring. There's like not a lot going on. I kind of like the idea. I remember sketching this on a separate piece of paper because I was doing really rough, quick like thumbnail sketches for a lot of these prompts just to kind of get an idea of what I wanted to draw for them. I remember my little sketch of this was really cute. It just didn't come together. It didn't work. I don't like this at all. I feel like it doesn't have any redeeming qualities really at all. This one I feel like is interesting. This could have been drawn a lot better. The colouring could have been a lot better. There's like hardly any actual shading. It feels like I didn't even really colour each section properly. Like there isn't enough ink on there. It looks patchy. So the actual technical way that this is drawn could have been improved a great deal. But I like the idea here. I really like this kind of monochromatic character using all different greys and then having this really bright bird and incorporating the feathers throughout. And I also kind of like the pose. I feel like it was a little bit ambitious for me at the time. And I like that I was doing something different, and I feel like the composition isn't bad. Maybe if I was redrawing this would have brought this arm out further and the bird further out just so that it wasn't so squished up here. I would have extended it out a little bit, but other than that I don't hate this, and I also feel like it's an interesting character. It's just different from the other stuff that I've drawn, so I don't know, I like it for that reason. I hate this is okay, but neither of them are really that great, so let's move on. Oh god. Prompt number 30 was armor, and I basically drew the same idea both years, and I don't even think there's much of an improvement. In some ways I kind of even prefer the old one. I don't even know why I wrote this in as a prompt. I think I wanted to challenge myself a little bit to do different things and go outside my comfort zone and draw lots of different types of characters, but this was difficult on both years. I'm not someone who likes drawing armor particularly, and in some ways I even just prefer this because at least it's all kind of one colour. I think I wanted to add different colours for interest here, but it just made it look messier, and then I don't know why I threw blue in the background. I don't know. This is so much more boring. I think this is one of the rare times where I completely prefer the 2018 version. It also was coloured with metallic marker, so it's shiny. I really don't like either of these, to be honest. Okay, we've hit a rough patch of drawing because I don't like either of these either. Prompt number 31 was alpaca. I don't like either of these. This is clearly very lazy. I think I wanted to attempt to actually draw an alpaca. I thought it would be very cute. It didn't work. This is what we have. I don't like it. This one, it's just boring. I do like the idea behind this. I wanted to do something inspired by the little Alpaca characters, which are very distinct. They have this very distinct face, and I thought it would be really cute. So I like this. I also like the idea of her wearing a little hood with the little face on, but the composition is so weird and basic. Like, she's just standing there, everything's very closed up, it's just kind of like... And then I randomly stuck some washi tape on here, I think, just like, I was like, this is already a lost cause, let's stick some cute stuff on there. It doesn't work. The colour scheme is cute, but I think it's almost too many colours with the blonde hair and then the purple and the pink and the blue. I think I would have preferred if there was more going on if I was going to use that many colours. But anyway, I don't like it. Okay, I really must have been going through a rough patch. I promise the drawings will get better. Prompt number 32 was tropical. I love my 2018 drawing and I would really love to exactly redraw this image. But like I mentioned before, I didn't want this whole challenge to be redrawing these. It was to come up with a new concept for each prompt, which is why I came up with something different, but I hate this. That's the fact of the matter. I really don't like it. I kind of like the idea here in that I did a circle and then I wanted to fill it with all these different types of leaves and have this character in the middle, but there's just not enough detail here to make it interesting at all. And then these flowers are kind of thrown in. I don't understand the colour scheme. I should have gone with all greens instead of adding this pop of pink like I did here. It works so much better in this concept than it does here, having that pop of bright pink. I don't know. I feel like so much went wrong with this one. This one I love. I mean, again, I've been saying this with basically every single one of my 2018 drawings, but like the anatomy could be better, the actual physical colouring could be better. There's practically no shading. I think I shaded the skin. The skin is one colour and then has one shading colour on top of it. But other than that, I don't think there's any shading. Like, there's no shading in the background at all. This could have physically been drawn a lot better, but I just love the idea. I feel like the composition is pretty good. The idea behind it is very solid. I really love this bright blue colour in the background. I love the colour combination overall. It is kind of a nod to that like cyan, magenta and yellow true primary colour scheme, because we've got the really bright cyan blue for the water, which is like all of these little sparkles. This bright magenta colour for the watermelon, the flower, and then this bright yellow colour for the outfit, and I think it works. I kind of wish I'd just redrawn this idea and updated the actual artwork rather than try and come up with a new concept, because I really don't like this at all. Prompt number 33 was mushrooms. I appreciate the 2018 attempt here. I feel like I tried to do a whole scene. It's a very concise concept. I appreciate the green skin, all the different types of mushrooms that I drew, these little rocks, the trees in the background. I really like this, to be honest. I think it's an interesting idea. Again, I feel like I'm repeating the exact same thing for every single one of these, but like it could have been drawn better. There's basically no shading, the colouring is patchy, but I like the idea and I like the spirit that was behind this. This one, I feel like I'm being a little bit more critical of my 2019 ones. This one I loved as I was drawing it, and then I looked back on it and I didn't like it as much. I don't know why that is exactly. I feel like the colours look a little bit washed out. I really wanted to use like a pale pastel green for the background here, but I do feel like it kind of makes the whole thing look a little bit washed out, and it doesn't seem like there's enough depth or value to any of the colours. Like, none of them are really dark enough, even in the areas that were supposed to be dark. I went with like a little box, a little bit of ground. I really like the mushrooms growing off of the background. I think that that's a cute little idea and just ties the whole thing together. I think the character's cute. The white hair with the blue shading is cute. The green eyes. I just feel like it could have been drawn better, I think. But it just wasn't really drawn well enough, and I also feel like the colouring isn't detailed enough, and there's like not a lot of value to the image. For some reason, looking back on this, I dislike it a lot more than when I drew it. I was so excited to draw this because I really thought it was going to be good, and it turned out not so good. Prompt number 34 was ballet, and I don't know how I feel about these. I don't really feel any type of way about them. I think that that says a lot. This one I appreciate that I was trying to do something different. I feel like so much with art improvement, the most important thing is to just do it. It's always better to draw something than to not draw something, and any different thing that you draw is always going to contribute to your overall practice and how good you get at things in the future. So I always appreciate when I look back at my old really bad artwork and see that I was at least trying to do things differently, do different poses, complicated poses. So yeah, I think I just appreciate that I tried to do a more complicated pose here. There's a little bit of kind of dimension and depth going on with the angle of the pose, and I appreciate that. But other than that, it's not good. I mean, the colouring isn't good, there's like no shading, it's just not that great. This one isn't that great either, I really don't like this. It's small, it's like, you can tell that it was rushed, I didn't put that much effort into it, and I think that's really just the biggest problem with the fact that I was trying to draw every day, was that I just wasn't putting as much effort into things as I normally would, just because I didn't have the time. It's cute, it's simple, I like the colour scheme, I guess. I love this purple colour. But yeah, it's just kind of like, it's boring, I don't want to look at it anymore. Prompt number 35 was Magma, and this was another one where I reused the same concept, but tried to do it a bit differently. I appreciate the idea behind this. I think that it's really cool to have a character that's kind of a volcano and have all this pop of bright orange with this black. I just feel like the contrast is really nice, and I really like this as an idea. And then I tried to do it again in the 2019 version and improve it, but I feel like I didn't manage to improve it in the process. This is kind of like, why are they just sitting in nothingness in a void? Like, there's no background, so I feel like it doesn't make sense. They're like side on. I don't know, I appreciate this. It's like front and center. I understand why I did this triangle in the background. I just wanted to like frame the character, and I also wanted to create this like shape on the page, but I also feel like it doesn't really work. It's like, is it part of the character? Is it the background? Or like, why is it there? I don't know. Maybe I would have just appreciated like an orange square, or yellow even, just to give something to the background that wasn't gonna smush up the composition. But I don't know if it really works. Prompt number 36 was spring. So the next four are the 4 seasons. And like I mentioned before, I really love kind of character design and trying to anthropomorphize different ideas and concepts, and I have a few things to say about both of the years. So 2018, I feel like I had a lot of fun with this one. I really like 3 out of 4 of the seasons that I did this year, and I feel like it had a lot of good ideas. They aren't really drawn very well. The colouring is not very good. I appreciate that I tried to do a whole scene. There's like a whole background going on, so I feel like there are a lot of different details and things here, but again, it's just like not shaded at all really, and it's very patchy, and it's clear that I just wanted to get it done, as opposed to looking at that attention to detail of whether like the line weight was right or the shading was all in the right direction. And I really tried my best to kind of anthropomorphize this idea and this kind of abstract concept, whereas in 2019 I went with kind of a different approach. I do kind of wish that I'd really gone in and tried to redo these ideas. I went with a kind of different style. As an illustration, I do kind of like this. I really appreciate the colour scheme. It's very simple, but I feel like it's kind of effective. I like the style of it. I really like the shapes. I don't know. I appreciate this and I like it. And there's a lot that could be improved. Again, just the line weight. I don't know why I didn't go in and really pay attention to the line art and the line weight and stuff. It looks very much like I just put the lines on there. I didn't really pay attention to where I was placing them. But I do really like the shapes and the colour scheme, and I think it's cute. So number 37 was summer, and I really don't like either of these. I feel like summer is the most difficult of the 4 seasons to kind of come up with a solid concept, and maybe that's different for other people. I don't really like summer as a season in general, so maybe that was my issue, is I just haven't had enough like positive experience with summer in general to anthropomorphize it properly. Nothing on here really strongly indicates summer in any way. I feel like if the prompt wasn't there and if they weren't directly next to the other three, you wouldn't be able to tell what the ideas were behind these. I do appreciate the colour scheme of both of them. Obviously I went with like really bright, bold colours for summer, because I guess that's what I think of. A lot of bright yellow and bright blue and pink and stuff like that. But really, other than that, there's like no defining characteristics here that really scream summer, I don't think. I guess I went with like a sun and like water kind of theme here, but here I didn't. I don't know. Autumn, on the other hand, I feel like there is so much to work with that's very specific to autumn. I feel like autumn has such a specific colour scheme and so many specific themes to work with, especially the leaves and stuff. I feel like this one was a lot easier. I am kind of disappointed in the execution of this one from 2019. I appreciate the style of the character. I was trying to keep all four of these in a similar style, so they all have very similar like proportions and just style overall. The way I drew the eyes and the shapes and stuff was very similar across the four of them. But other than that, I just hate the way that this is executed. I feel like it's so lazy. I guess I must have just rushed this one because it just doesn't look similar quality to a lot of the others that I was drawing. But I do like the colour scheme. I think, you know, the green eyes, the freckles are really cute. I love this hair. I just think that the composition looks nice. I love all these little leaves. I feel like I could have done so much more with this though. I actually really still love my 2018 version for autumn. I think the pose is a little weird and the composition is a little weird overall, but I appreciate the magic elements going on, all of the leaves. I still really love this idea of she's wearing a little scarf and then it's wrapping around her and then they just turn to leaves at the end, which I think is really cute. I really like the hair. I just kind of wish I'd gone bigger with this one and also maybe cut down the colour scheme a little bit. I don't like this orange on green here. I think the red is okay. I think that kind of burgundy red is still kind of an autumnal colour. But I just wish I'd taken out like one of the colours here and edited it down a little bit. And I like the ideas here, but the execution is bad. I don't know. These aren't the best, but I think that you can at least clearly tell that they were meant to be autumn themed. So finally for this little series of characters is winter, and I still really like this one from 2018. Again, I'm going to repeat exactly what I've been saying this whole time. The colouring leaves a lot to be desired, the composition is a little bit weird, and the proportions and the actual anatomy is a little bit strange too. But overall, I just love the ideas here. I actually really like the shading on the skin. The fact that it's really pale but has this blue tinge in the shading I think is really cool. I like the hair. I like that I gave her much more harsh features to go with the winter theme. And we have the two little magic elements going on where she's got this like ice spike thing going on here and then this soft snow thing going on here. I like the whole thing. I do wish she had a bit more of an elaborate outfit, but other than that, I like the ideas here. This one, I don't know how I feel about this. I like the colour scheme, and so it was meant to be drawn in the same style as the other three, so they kind of all look like a set, like they match, which I appreciate. I like the colour scheme, like I said, this kind of dark blue. It's not really a dark blue, it's more like a grey toned blue in the background. I feel like it's very wintry. I like this blue as well, especially with the pastel colours for the outfit. I think it's really cute. The line art is really bad. I don't know why at this time I was using like one pen in black and I was just doing one line over things. I feel like I could have added so much more line weight and just like added some dimension to the line art. I also feel like there's not a lot of shading going on with this one. There's a little bit, but I feel like it's a little bit lazy, but I appreciate where I was going with it, and I like the movement and the pose, the way that the hair's flipping up and she's kind of like turning. I feel like it's very cute. I don't know, but yeah, there's issues with all of these. I could roast them for like half an hour. I could sit here and roast every single one of these. Oh, birds. Oh, birds. Okay. Prompt number 40 was birds, or bird, I don't know. It says something different on each one. I appreciate this little doodle of a toucan here. I think it's cute. I think I copied it from a photograph, but I can't quite remember at this point. I probably did though. I definitely used some form of reference. But But I think it's cute and I appreciate it as like a practice sketch, but it clearly isn't a finished image. This is just horrific. This is my least favourite drawing from this entire challenge. I had not a lot of time on this day. Like I said, keeping the momentum going for 100 days was the most difficult part of this challenge. I practically draw every day anyway, and I feel like my artwork comes out a lot higher quality than it did in this challenge. And the reason for that is I can skip one day if I have to, if I'm busy, but with a 100-day challenge you can't skip a day because then you have to catch up and it all just builds and piles on top of each other. So this is probably the worst illustration from this entire challenge, and I was planning on redrawing it recently for another video, so spoilers. I think I'm gonna do a little video where I recreate the 3 worst drawings from this challenge and try to make them good. So this is something that I've been working with recently to try and improve. But I hate it, it's horrific, and we're moving on. I don't like this one either. We have a running theme at the moment, and that is that I hate my own artwork. So number 41 was like goat or ram horns or something, I don't know. Yeah. I don't even really feel like I have to give a commentary for this one. Like, my voice is starting to hurt, and these are just bad. Like, you can see, like, you have eyes. At least I hope you do. They're just bad. They're just really bad, both of them. Number 42 was Autumn Leaves. I feel like this is better than this, concept-wise. I appreciate, again, 2018, I was really going for it. I was attempting a lot of different stuff, different poses and angles and compositions and backgrounds and stuff that I just didn't even attempt in 2019. So I feel like I need to take inspiration from this sketchbook a lot more than this one going forward into 2020. I like the fact that this is different. It's a different angle and a different pose, and there's a background, and I appreciate that, but the colours are all over the place. I don't like the colour scheme. I could edit that a lot. I pretty much just take out the pink. I don't think it works. And the background looks unfinished. And there's not a lot of shading going on, but I appreciate it. This, again, is another one that I sketched on a different piece of paper beforehand because I was planning out little thumbnails of what I wanted to do for each of these drawings. And the thumbnail was cute. I liked the concept of having this little patch of ground and a little circle in the background, and she's very like front and center and symmetrical, and I thought that was cute. And the dress is leaves that are like pouring off and falling to the ground, and they're changing colour as they're going down, so they're green at the top and kind of orange and then red at the bottom. I appreciate the idea, but it's just so badly executed. Like, there's no detail here. The line art is so basic. There's like no line weight or depth or anything, and the value is just, there's just not, like, I don't like it. We're moving on. I'm getting so like heated about this. I think the problem is that I'm just so disappointed in myself for coming up with these ideas and then just not bothering to execute them properly. And I appreciate that I didn't have a lot of time at the time to like really edit things and think about how good they were going to turn out, but I don't know, I'm just so disappointed. Prompt number 43 was Vampire. Yeah. Went with similar colour schemes for both of these. I think that they're colour schemes that are very synonymous with vampirism. I don't even know if that makes sense. Black, grey, red, I feel like it's very classic. I appreciate the concept here, but not the execution. Same goes for this one. Why is she holding a mirror? Does that make sense? Do vampires, they don't have a reflection. Why does she have a mirror? I think it was just because I wanted a reason to offset the two arms. So she's holding something. I was like, what could she be holding? And something ornate. I don't know. But the cape just makes no sense to me. Like, I feel like this outfit and also kind of the composition would have been fine without this block of colour in the background randomly, especially since there's like no detail to it. It's just a block of colour. It makes no sense to me. I don't know why I made that decision. I appreciate the colour scheme. The dark hair I think is cool. I wish it was longer. Even if I really wanted this block in the background for some reason, why wasn't it long hair instead of the hair stopping here and then there being a random cape? I don't know, I don't get it. She's kind of a sassy lady. My favourite thing to draw. You'll see that a lot. But I wish I don't know, just thought about it for a little second longer. Like, I kind of wish she was holding this up at a different angle and then this arm was straight to contrast or something. I don't know. That's something interesting actually that I want to mention really quickly. I never used to thumbnail my ideas before I started drawing. I would just go in and be like, this pose kind of makes sense, and I'd do it as I went along. And something I've learned through drawing a lot over the past few years has just been, you know, your first initial instinct isn't always the best, and sometimes it's better to plan things and thumbnail things out and really think about the way that you want the composition to be. I don't think composition was even something I considered back before 2018. I just used to draw characters in a void, and then maybe I would draw a background if I felt it was necessary, but it was all kind of improvised. I just kind of had a blank page and then drew whatever I wanted on there, whereas now I think a lot more about what I want to achieve with what I'm drawing and whether it's worth doing, and I put a lot more effort into making it visually appealing. I feel like I'm saying all this and making all these bold claims and then we're looking at terrible artwork, but that I promise it's because of this challenge and not because I'm not learning from my mistakes. I appreciate the idea, the style. I went with a little bit more of like a Lolita inspired, like J-Fashion inspired with the outfit a little bit. I made it a bit more cute rather than glamour, whatever this is. Glamorous, I don't know. I like the little roses, and I appreciate that I was trying to encapsulate it and make it a clear composition. I appreciate that. But everything else about it is bad. The colouring is bad, there's like hardly any shading going on. I feel like, why didn't I learn my lesson? The line art, again, is bad. Why was my line art so bad? It's just, there's like no line weight at all to anything. Anyway. Oh, I forgot to mention we're on Halloween prompts now. Because this challenge was between September and December, some of them were themed based on when I was drawing them. So we were coming up to Halloween, so I did a few creepy prompts on the way up. Next we have ghosts. I like the idea here, but it's bad. I'm sure you can tell why. It's just, there's not a lot going on, it's very basic, there's like no shading, this character isn't even coloured in the middle, which I feel like kind of was a style choice, but also is just incredibly lazy. I like the little ghost faces, they are cute. They're also coloured with sparkles. Yeah. Went with a similar thing here. I recreated these little ghost faces because I thought they were so cute. I was like, I need to do that again. I went with a block of black in the background. I understand why I didn't do the full page, just because I was limited on resources. I didn't want to waste an entire black pen colouring an entire A4 page of black, so I just minimised it a little bit, and I feel like I can let myself off for that. But I appreciate the idea. This character's holding up a little lantern, and then this is supposed to be the span of light around them, and then there are these little ghosts. It's like they're ghost hunting. I don't know. I feel like it's a cute concept. There's a video in the works at the moment that I'm working on where I'm recreating the 3 worst drawings from this challenge from 2019, and this was one of the least liked drawings on Instagram from my whole challenge, so I'm recreating this, but I feel like it's unwarranted. I feel like a lot of the ones we've looked at already are a lot worse than this. At least this has a clear concept, and it was on the run up to Halloween, so I feel like it's topical. Prompt number 45 was Pumpkin Queen. Here I appreciate, again, 2018, I don't know what it was, I really just went in and like attempted stuff. I really went for backgrounds on a lot of these when I would be too afraid to nowadays, so I really want to take inspiration from that mindset and really just go into drawings thinking, what do I want to draw? Let's do it regardless of whether I believe I can or not. I really appreciate that. This one, again, it just feels more basic in that I did a circle and then I did these 2 little pumpkins at the bottom. It's just not as elaborate as this one. And I understand that part of that is because I wanted to edit down and make the composition make more sense. So I think this is supposed to be a recreation of the same character, or at least a similar character. I do appreciate certain little additions here, like the little green stalks coming off of the hair, like it's tied with them, and the little crown here, and just a little bit more detail added into the shape of the outfit here. I think it makes a little bit more sense and is a bit more concise than the original. I do like both of these, and the colour scheme is good, and I really like this idea of like the green eyelashes just to tie the whole pumpkin concept together. I think it's really cute. But this to me for some reason feels so much more dynamic than this one. Prompt number 46 was eyeballs. Again, another creepy prompt on the run up to Halloween. This, I feel like, had hardly any inspirational concept behind it. I just needed to draw something on this day, so I drew something on this day. I feel like it doesn't represent anything. There was no inspiration behind it. There's not even really a clear colour scheme. Yeah, I don't like this at all. The composition is weird. It doesn't make sense. I don't know what's going on with this one. Let's just ignore it. This, I feel like I at least had a clear idea and concept. There's a lot that could have been improved in terms of like the actual way that it's drawn, but I do like it a lot. But yeah, this was very inspired by like J fashion, creepy cute fashion, pastel goth, that kind of thing, and it's like a little bit weird and a little bit different, but also very cute. I love the colour scheme. This purple and pink I feel like work together so well, and the green adds that little bit of creepy eyeballedness to it, which I really appreciate. I love the patterned dress with the eyeballs on and that little pop of black in there. I really like the ideas here, and I'm really kind of proud of this and the idea behind it, but I just wish I'd had more time to really pull it together and make it really good. It almost seems rushed, which I think is really sad because there's so much more I could have done with this to improve it or even make it more simple, because I do appreciate that it's meant to be simple. There's not meant to be like too much going on, but there's so much more I could have done to just like tidy it up a little bit. Finally, there's a drawing in this book that I like. Prompt number 47 was Halloween, so this one was actually drawn on Halloween, and I don't like either of these, so I'm not going to talk about them for too long. They're both boring. Again, I kind of appreciate that I had to come up with an idea for this day and for this prompt. They're both just executed badly. I feel like this one I like the colour scheme. I feel like the colour scheme really screams Halloween. I mean, we've got all the necessary colours. Black, we got purple, we got orange. So I think it is very... We got lime green. I think it's very Halloween, but it's just very boring and not drawn well. I mean, the circle isn't even a circle, it's like really wobbly. And so it's like, did I try? I might not have tried. I do like the little bats because I can never be angry at little bats. And this is pretty much the same concept, except this little character is dressed as a bat, which I appreciate. There's nothing really interesting or intriguing about either of them. So that's all I have to say. I'm not going to talk about these ones for too long because they're not really completed images, but prompt number 48 was pose studies, and I think this was a really fun little break from prompts that I was working on at the time in both years, because at this point I'm getting quite far into the challenge and I had been drawing like a completed image every day, so this was a welcome break. And I think it's really important sometimes to do these really sketchy anatomy practice sketches. But yeah, I think it's just fun sometimes to practice little anatomy things and do some really rough sketches. I really like doing this often. And I feel like it just helps your brain to really develop this understanding that you can then apply to later artworks. So this was fun and I think important to do. But not very exciting to look at, so let's move on. So the penultimate prompt for this video is number 49, Sunset. I hate this. It's so bad. It looks rushed. The line art is bad. It was basically a copy of this character except drawn badly. I hate it. Let's not look at it. This one, on the other hand, from 2018, again, I just appreciate the fact that I was taking the time and initiative, I guess, to draw full completed images, even though I guess I kind of knew I didn't have the skill level, and yet I was doing it anyway, and I appreciate that because I feel like it's really good for practice and really good for improvement over the years. So I really feel like looking through this sketchbook again is giving me this inspiration to attempt new and exciting things with my artwork, which I really appreciate. It's supposed to be all sunset colours, so there is this kind of sunset thing going on in the background which isn't drawn well, but at least I attempted it. There's this like grass effect going on, which is essentially just that I didn't colour it properly and it's patchy. And the character is all inspired by sunset colours, so we go from like purple to red to orange to a lighter orange to yellow. I think it's cute and I like it, and I like the composition, the fact that she's, you know, front and centre and the hair's flowing out beside her. This I just feel like makes no sense at all. Like, why did I choose this pose, and why is it so scrunched up, and why the circle in the background? The colouring is bad and the line art is bad and I hate it. So that's all I have to say about that one. And finally for this video we have number 50, Dandelions. I appreciate this one from 2019. I appreciate the concept of it, the blue circle in the background, the little dandelion seeds going off into the distance, and you can see the little tiny ones here. I like it, and I appreciate that I kind of wanted to model the character after the concept, giving her the kind of yellow hair to indicate the little dandelion, and then the skirt is the little dandelion seeds. I do think it's a really cute idea, but just the execution of it is not very good. The colouring is patchy. I don't like the line art. Again, I don't know why I wasn't adding line weight to anything. I just feel like it looks so lazy. It's like I went over it as quick as possible with a black pen and called it a day. This one's from 2018. Again, I've been saying this a lot, but I just appreciate the effort that I put into it, and it doesn't look good, but I appreciate it. I didn't finish colouring the sky, I think probably because my markers were running out, which is a common theme because I just do so much artwork that they are constantly running out. I feel like the colour scheme is a little strange. I went with obviously like the green and blue for the grass and the sky, but then I don't know why I gave her like brown or reddish brown hair, like a warm tone. And then a yellow, I mean the yellow to tie in with the dandelions I understand, but then the hair I don't get. And then the green eyes as well, so it's like just too many colours. I just wish the hair was a different colour. Maybe if it was yellow like in this one, I don't know. And the composition is strange, the fact that she's like blowing the dandelion seeds off into the distance, but it's like on the last third of the page. So I appreciate that I planned this one out a little bit better so that the focus goes clearly to what you're supposed to be looking at, whereas this one, I don't really know where to focus. So I appreciate kind of the effort here and the idea. I also appreciate the effort and the idea here, but neither of them are quite there. I'd love to redraw this again. I have absolutely no idea if I will attempt this challenge again from September to December 2020. I have not decided yet. It was really difficult in 2019, so I don't know whether I want to put myself through that again. Maybe I will. I haven't decided yet, genuinely. But I do have so many more ideas and ways that I can improve a lot of these concepts and illustrations, and I feel like this isn't the best indication of my actual skill level because I was so stressed out at the time and trying to get a drawing done every day, and I felt like it was kind of piling on top of me kind of mentally. So it is interesting. I went into this challenge wanting to do as much artwork as possible for practice, to learn new things and try different things and experiment with stuff, and just to keep going. I feel like drawing things is the best way to learn how to draw things, right? So I just wanted to do as much as possible, but also it was really interesting the kind of mental toll that took on my creativity. So it was kind of a catch-22. It was like I really want to do more artwork to practice, but doing more artwork is causing me to not want to do artwork, and that mindset was making my artwork come out badly. It was really odd. I keep saying that I should make a video about specifically the kind of psychological effect of doing this challenge. I think that would be a really interesting, fascinating video. I haven't gone around to doing it yet, so let me know if that's something that you would actually be interested in. I have a lot of ideas, and I feel like at the moment I'm struggling to have the time to do all of the ideas that I'm coming up with for videos, so just fingers crossed I'll get all of those done very soon. That is all I have to say for today. Goodbye. That is all. We're closing this book because my voice hurts, and we'll go through the other 50 prompts in the next video. Hopefully when my voice is fixed.